Okay, the heart pendant. This one you can design for your girlfriend, for your mom, for yourself, for whoever you'd want, but it'll be a fun little design lesson that we're going to go through where you're going to discover some interesting ways to use different parts of the design, including the sweep command, which is a very interesting command. So let's dive into the heart pendant lesson. Here we go. Okay, so this is what the final design of your heart pendant is going to look like. So, of course, don't forget we have the downloadable lesson PDFs underneath this video that walk you through it. And let's get to it. Okay, let's dive into the pendant lesson. So we're going to get started by clicking the top view. And from the top view, we're going to select the Spline command. We're going to then click on the drawing grid to indicate we want to draw on that plane. And then we're going to select a whole bunch of points that make up 1/2 of the side of our heart. So you can see I click a whole bunch of points, and all of these points, the spline will draw a best fit line through. So we're going to want to make sure the tail of our spline extends further past the top of our spine, the beginning, and you'll see why by the end of the lesson. So let's go ahead and hit the pause button. Okay, next we're going to draw our ellipse. So we're going to choose the Sketch Ellipse command. We're going to click on the drawing grid first, not the spline. It's very important. Then we're going to click our second click on the end, and then we'll draw our major axis of 7 millimeters and our minor axis of about 5 millimeters. We'll then click the check mark box and say that we're done. And what we're going to do next is we're going to actually move an orbit, or move and rotate, this ellipse. So we'll rotate it 90 degrees in that direction, so it's perpendicular, and then we'll just want to make it a little bit more square with our spline. So we'll rotate it 10 degrees that way. And now we'll hit the pause button. Okay, so if you're a little bit confused why we've done that, just stick around for the rest of the lesson, because what we're about to do is take that 2D face and turn it into a 3D object. So you might have a little bit of trouble with this, but just keep trying, iterating, try again, maybe redo your spline until you get it. So let's keep moving here. Okay, so next, what we're going to do, we now have our ellipse that's been rotated, and we have our spline. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose the construct sweep command, and we're going to sweep this profile, or that ellipse face, along our spline as the path. So we'll choose our path, we'll select our spline, and you can see that creates a 3D object in the shape of 1/2 of our heart. So let's take a moment and pause and make sure we got it. Okay, next we're going to use the Polyline command, and we're going to cut our heart into a few pieces here. So we'll use the Polyline command. We're going to draw a polyline line on the grid down through our heart. So we're going to move this over, and this is going to cut through and become the mirror plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to use in the modify tool set the split solid command. We're going to select the split solid command. We're going to say our body to split is the heart, and our splitting entity is the polyline. So you can see, oh, I don't want to actually move that. You can see it splits the solid along that polyline. So we can delete those extra pieces, and now we have a perfect 1/2 of the heart. So let's hit the pause button. Go. Okay, so now that we have the 1/2 of our heart, we're now going to go to the patterns tool set, and we're going to use the mirror pattern. So we'll select the mirror patterns command, and then we'll select our heart as the solid and the polyline as our mirror plane. And what's going to happen is that 1/2 of our heart is going to turn into the other half of the heart along the mirror plane, completing our heart pendant. Yes! Okay, so, but before we go, let's hit the pause button because there's one or two more things. Okay, before we finish up, I want to make sure that my heart pendant's the right size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle, and this rectangle is going to be 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters. This is going to be a reference box for me to scale my object down to the proper size that I want it. So you'll see I'll choose the scale command, and I'll scale that 3D object so it's approximately the same size as my reference box. I'm then going to hide the sketches, and finally we'll export it for 3D printing. So we'll choose Export STL and export it into our 3D prints folder. So that's it. Let's hit the pause button, make sure we got it all. Great job, guys. So that's the heart pendant lesson. You might find when you print this that it's going to be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller than you originally anticipated. Don't worry, just go back in, design it again, make adjustments if necessary, and make sure you're happy with your design when it comes out. That's the beauty of 3D printing. If you're not a big fan of it, you can change it and print it again. So, good job, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, yeah, alrighty then. The heart pendant lesson. Okay. So you might find when you print it out, it's a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller than you anticipated.